This is Florida Natural Farming at Frog Valley Tropical Fruit Farm. I was just planting some bamboo and changing my donkeys out to the switching pastures because I have them on rotational pastures. So there's a pasture. They're weedy pastures, which I like because when they start looking like this, I can plant trees right in that and they'll all survive, or other plants. Because this was a horse pasture for, it's like 60 years now. And sure, we only have donkeys on it, but they cause compaction. This is horribly compacted soil. And then down here, they mow the pastures all the time so that they look like lawns. So they were just in this pasture. They eat all the weeds, the different weeds at different times of year. And there's grass in there. You can see the grass there. Grass is kind of browned out because it's been drought. We have this pond here that never goes dry, and there's no spring in it because it goes up and down with the amount of rain we have. Usually it's completely full this time of year, but it's down like 5 feet. It has drainage. They put in drainage. That's what those ditches are on this property that run through, because they do drainage here, but we don't ever get water in it. The only way we get water in it is because of this pipe that goes into the ditch, fills it up. So, but the water just stays close to the pond. It gets wicked away. It gets wicked away and moved to where the dry areas are. We don't have any standing water, so these people raise their property about 2 to 3 feet above our property. These are the people that spray glyphosate all the time. That's what I'm going to check. The glyphosate, you can see the browned out weeds over there, and they didn't do it right here because there was nothing growing here, because it's so compacted, because this is where the horses stood under this tree for so many years. But you can see in there it's browned out, and there's hardly any grass in there, and usually that's like a big pond, a lawn pond. It looks like it's lower than this property now, and I know they added at least 3 feet of fill. So this is the stuff they sprayed the glyphosate on. I could taste the glyphosate when I was planting those trees. They mostly got the trees on their property there, but they got this huge area here on our property. I mean, this is easily 20 feet into our property, and it prevents us from putting my donkeys out here on pasture, because this was a pasture. Now I can't use it. There's a tree completely browned out. All the leaves fall on our property. It looks like they sprayed onto our property because there's big dead spots on our property. But all the leaves they created, that's totally on their property, that tree. The branches are over here, but now all their debris from their glyphosate poisoned tree is falling onto our property. And I've thought about this, and I get bothered by it. I don't know what that is, but I get bothered. I could taste the glyphosate in my saliva. Even after all this time. He was surprised that I knew that he sprayed the next day. I only did it yesterday. I can't believe you saw this. I said I could smell it. It's like, he sprays it all around his house. It's like, I don't know. People just don't believe in it, but I don't understand that, because even if you don't believe in it, why would you take the chance with your grandkids? I mean, are you that sure of your, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand why people can't understand that that's what's killing Florida and making everyone sick. So I've decided to plant, it's definitely killing the Indian River Lagoon. So I don't like it. So I've started planting this timber bamboo here, all along here. I'm going to do all the way down along the property line. So they have a shared driveway with 2 other property owners, the whole length of our property. So they built back here after we bought. They moved in. They were just building this, and then they added like 3 to 5 feet of fill right up to the fence line. And I don't know, then they spray. So here's another one. So I usually leave these, but these were in nursery started plants. Nursery started plants don't have relationships with fungi, so guaranteed there's probably no arbuscular fungi in that plant to harvest water down to the root zone from that nursery started tree. It was full of slow release fertilizer. And then I put fresh donkey manure with a little tiny bit of cow manure, and I sprayed it with lab, EM, lactobacillus spray to activate the calcium cycle. I removed all the soil from the roots. So these will look good. So 5 down, about 100 to go. Ugh. I'd rather not do that, but I have to buffer the poisons that are being sprayed onto our property, and the only way to do that is with nature. There's really no other way to do that, so I'll just plant a lot of plants along here and hope for the best. Hopefully they can evolve. Plus all the trash. Look at all this trash. That's from them, not from us. We don't come back here. So this tree is all on our property, a foot into our property that was sprayed. So I don't get it. So yeah, we need more bamboo. Anyway, I just wanted to get that on film so that I have a record of it and give people an update on what we're doing, because I usually don't go back here that much. It's very pretty. So I'm going to start planting heavily in here. I'm going to do 3 rows of non-edible plants between us and them, right by the fence line, like heliconia. Even though they're considered heliconia, I don't eat them, so I'm going to do heliconia, giant bamboo, and I have to think of one other thing. And then I'll start planting trees, like right here. I have mangoes. Glyphosate affects hormones in mangoes. So probably will not get any fruit off this tree because of the glyphosate spray on our property by that house. 6376 12th Street. Is that what it is? Yeah. It's a shame they have to be like this. I had to pick up so much plastic bags and stuff, and then they'd throw all their yard debris in here, and they like ripped our fence apart trying to pull out pepper trees. So this is how high they put the dirt, right up to the fence line. That's like 5 feet. It's sunk a lot, and the more it gets mowed, the more it'll sink. So I don't know. They keep to themselves, but they sure pollute a lot, and they just don't, I don't get it. I mean, why would you take the chance? Why would anybody take the chance to spray glyphosate around their grandkids just because you don't believe that it causes cancer? I don't know what that is. It's either ignorance, you can't read, or you don't care, or you're a sociopath. Those are the only options I can come up with. They're the only ones that do it. The other neighbor used to do it and then burn his glyphosate weeds till I turned him in. Burn his glyphosate weeds and his black plastic nursery pots, because he grows everything in nursery pots, like 50 gallon nursery pots. So I can take down this electric fence now. It's probably a vinyl chloride plastic electric fence, which are full of PFAS, so I don't really like to use it, but it's here, just like the glyphosate. You really can't get away from the plastic. So this is like, I would put the cows in here, but I have to get fences done because I'm not going to do any more electric fence, and I don't want my little zebus subjected to electric fence. So a lot of people think that this is neglect, but this is 7 years of, 6.5 years right now of totally focusing on soil health. I mean, you can't apply high end inputs like compost and manure every day if you're in the right amounts. Not in thing with biological systems is small little amounts. So I put like this much manure in here, and then I sprayed it once, one spray with the lab, and then I took compost and I dusted the horse manure, and then I put one cow manure, two cow turds in there, and then I mixed it together. So one little bit of lab, because lab will kill some trees like garcinias if sprayed and left in the sun. So very small amounts of this stuff are needed, but I do it every day. And when you're somebody is like applying amendments to the soil year-round, high-end quality amendments, clean amendments, that's hardly neglectful. Well, we have enough sense through education to know that I wish I hadn't learned a lot of stuff, because it just makes me look at every stuff and everything can be a trigger. So, because I know learned enough to know that nature's the only thing that will fix man-made pollution. Everyone wants to have a complete 100% control over all their land and just grow exactly what they put in there. But you really aren't going to get the full expression and the full range of nutrients in your tree that tree is capable of making and providing to you through fruit if you're interfering with the natural systems. And if you do make any changes to the soil, do it in small increments. 50 pounds right here, 50 pounds there, 50 pounds there. Spread over, it's only 1,800 pounds of manure spread year round. So it's like tiny little amounts spread over time, not all in one day. Driving all over it, dumping it down on all 10 acres all at once. It's not done like that, and it's all done with wheelbarrow. So I know that there was some mangoes on this carrot tree, and I'm just wondering if I can like see them. It's such a thick tree. The birds may have gotten them. They seem to get a lot of the mangoes back here for some reason. Hopefully next year I'll have, I think next year it's going to be a mango bonanza here. I'm fairly certain. It was like a year off, basically. I still made the same amount I made the previous year, but I sold half as much. I just had to raise the price. So I'm sure next year I could go back down to our original price of $5 a pound, just because I think there's going to be so many. I just feel that. Did I even show my little donkey ladies? Probably not. They're busy in the new pasture. There they are, little sweet darling things. I love them. These were wild donkeys that were for livestock protection on a huge giant ranch. Here they are. I love them. And they were wild as hell. And one likes to chase cows. Only if she thinks I need help. But she'll chase him off, so I think that's why they got rid of her. And the other one is sensitive to flies, so I think that's why they got rid of her. But the fly problem's gone away, and they've become really, we've become very attached to them. So Donkey manure has, I guess, the highest mineral content of all your common farm animals. Then the zebu manure has the incredible otherworldly powers, the divine inspiration for the soil. It works. Grass doesn't bother the trees. I mean, this has been a drought, and you sure can't tell, but you could tell looking at their property that it's where they mow it and there's just no grass on it. Zilch. And if they had rain, it would be standing water. It's sinking. It appears like it's sinking, which makes sense because when you create acid in the soil from mowing it and compacting it with the heat, it makes carbonic acid in the soil. So that eats calcium, calcareous rock. So of course it's going to sink. I mean, it's just, some of this stuff is just common sense. But yeah, we've incorporated, well, I haven't, but most everyone else I've seen has incorporated a mowed lawn into their food production systems, and have taught everyone else how to do it. And even some go so far as to apply shade cloth over their orchard floor. That's vinyl chloride, people, in case you didn't know that. PFAS Superfund site you've created on your own farm. So all the food you're growing in that is going to uptake PFASs. Probably if you're watering from your polluted well water, that's just like a super feeding it. And if you're using water soluble salt-based fertilizers, you're guaranteed to get all the pollution in your food. There's no other way around it. So all this life, all this plant life, buffers, all this plant life and all these roots underground is home to many species that probably will never be mapped out in my lifetime. But they do know that the fungi live in there. And when you're not fertilizing your trees too much, small amounts of nitrogen, tiny, a fraction of what they tell you to apply, and you focus on soil health and by not disturbing anything, the fungi move into your food and can that's the nature that fixes the pollution. So if you don't have it, you haven't focused on it, I would have to call that arrogant gardening or ignorant gardening. Ignorant farming is what it is. If this is neglectful, that's ignorant. Anyway, just stuff that goes through my head. I'm hot. I breathed the glyphosate in from the neighbors. The lychees are looking good. We have like so many trees I never even talk about. The lychees, we have like 34 very large ones. No issues. So there's pigeon pea in here, and there's a mango there, and then there's citrus in here. Citrus, seed-grown citrus, of course. I've planted some other stuff in there. I just don't see it at the moment, but it's in there. It's amazing. It could go from drought. So this is what happens when you mow, but see how black it is? That's because we have so much carbon in our system now. Normally when I moved here, it would be white. Some areas it's still white where it's heavily compacted. This is a heavily compacted area, still short grass with big open spaces. I know it's compacted because I take those electric fence poles and try to poke them in the ground, and I can't. They can't even go down below an inch. So some people think that if your tree's not growing, if your tree's not growing, it's because you're being neglectful. No, it's probably because you have compacted soil. Has nothing to do with your nature's ability to grow a tree. It has to do with man's ability at destroying soils. And sand, I've already explained that this is a mowed lawn is a perfect recipe to create cement. Just from the chemical and physical makeup of the soil and the practice of mowing it in Florida. The sand, the silica, the carbonic acid, packing it down. That's why the trees don't grow. That's what I found. Took me about 5 years to figure that. Maybe it was longer than that. Probably about 6 years to figure that out. Maybe I knew a little bit. I kept thinking I need to put more life in there, but the life will eventually fix it. But disturbing it would probably have been better in the beginning. People get sidetracked trying to pick the plants to plant in the soil, but all the nitrogen fixing plants show up as soon as you start adding fertility and staying off of it. I mean, I can see the entire orchard floor is covered, and the trees that grow in there are nitrogen fixing trees. They show up on their own. Clovers, I don't know. I've counted more than 20 different nitrogen fixing plants. They're seasonal. Different plants come up at different times of the year. I didn't have to plant them. This was all lawn. There's no lawn now. Maybe right here would become lawn if I mowed it. It was lawn. It was killing these gorgeous live oak trees from the compaction. It had huge areas of standing water. Had drainage ditches that would stay full of water, 20 foot wide. The drainage ditches are more like shallow dips, kind of what they do in permaculture. But here where it's so flat, the standing water wicks away. This was a horribly compacted area, and it's still a monocrop lawn, but it's finally starting to grow seedlings. Pigeon pea, mango planted at the base of it. The pasture in the back looks so much better. That's like ideal growing for tropical fruit trees. Any of them. That pasture I showed you back there. At least to grow them like this. Boy, I took the soil out of those bamboo. Look at these little tiny citrus I planted in the winter, and you can't even tell that there's been a drought. Seed-grown citrus, been in the ground for about 6 months now, planted during the drought. I don't pay attention to whether it's raining or not, unless the plant came from a nursery. And then you have to kind of pay attention to that, because the salt-based fertilizers will burn the roots up if it doesn't get any water. Burns up carbon, burns up roots, horrible stuff. I remove it all the time now. In mangoes, I never removed it when I planted my grafted mangoes, but I would spray the tree and the roots with lab for about 2 weeks. A lot. Mangoes seem to be fine being sprayed with lab, and then I'd put, like a tablespoon of ground up manure on it. Sprinkle it with compost. So donkey manure grows these mushrooms. I don't know what kind they are, but I think some of you identified them. But I'm not sure. They grow on their own. More so in the donkey manure. I don't think I've seen a fungi grow out of a look at all those little mushrooms on there. These are 50 pounds a day. Daily input, small amounts, microdose. I mean, it just makes sense to me because animals poop daily. So why are we storing all the poop in one giant thing? Sure, to make potting soil, but why are we doing that for everything? And our piles of manure are just way too big. It creates polluted areas and compacted. So we do small. Here's a Luke's Garcinia. I shed a fairly big one yesterday. Small little piles year round, spread throughout 10 acres. It's a giant sweet ubijay. I got 2 of these trees. Thank you, Frank. I've gotten some good trees from people I've met here in Florida. Gave me all my mulberries. I didn't like mulberries, but now I see the need for them. Cha-cha. Nothing seems to be affected by the drought. Except for the cashew, I know isn't producing as much, but these little bananas that I planted during the drought, just divided recently, they never wilted at all. They just acted like they've been growing there the entire time. With the price of gas, I'm like so glad I don't mow a lot. Well, we mow this path, but look at all that cassava. I love its blue color. See it over there? I like to break the cassava off in the summer and plant it because it just starts growing. Don't have to wait for it to get big, it just grows. Okay, this little cacao is finally, this is a fruiting cacao, seed grown. And it's the leaves, it liked that moisture. A little dinosaur. Plus when you mow, you don't get all the lizards and spiders and birds that are in the grass, the weeds, and it's just I don't know, it's amazing what happens when you remove yourself from the land in Florida. I was watching some, I don't know, thing, and they were like putting in fake lawn in California. I don't know. I know that stuff is toxic, but people don't pay attention to it. They say they're going to start doing something about all the forever chemicals, the PFASs, something. But I don't think they can. The oil industry is in the food. And we've gotten to the point now where we just don't believe that stuff, man-made stuff can make you sick. 20 years down the road, I don't know what's happened to people. I know in the 70s, if they came out and said that the water was like full of PFASs and what they did and caused cancer, that they would have done something about it and people would have protested and something would have been done. But people just go by looks, and if they can't see it, they can say, I don't believe it. It's bizarre. I find it so strange. So I don't see them doing anything about it. I don't think they can. I think that there's too much. But you can plant nature and eat healthy. I know that. I eat all organic, of course. And I know that's not the best anymore, but it's like it's a basis. And then I try to grow a lot of our stuff here when I can. All these people want to grow food for us, but I don't see my message being filled up with people looking for seeds. We have sugar apple seeds. We have purple dragon fruit seeds. We have tamarillo seeds. They're all our seeds. Everything I sell is from this farm, dry farmed, naturally. What else seeds do we have? Now I got more. Oh, some MB seeds, a couple MB seeds. Those are $5 each. The sugar apple seeds are 50 cents each. Dragon fruit and Tamarillo are like 4 for $1, I think. You gotta like buy more than $5 worth because the postage is gonna be $5 worth. But I send stuff out. It's not my favorite thing. I'd rather just sell them on site, but I also demand or require appointments to come here. This place is not open to the public. I don't like to give tours when it's warm out. I always start my tours at 9. I have made exceptions, but I don't always make exceptions. Maybe I should go look at that cashew while I'm out wandering around here. The little wood ducks. Oh, they're so cute. 3 sets of babies. All these people that have ponds and then they clear everything and then they put algicide in the water. And then they have all these ponds. Our pond's full of turtles. So then all the people around here, they mow all their pastures. So I know that the turtles lay eggs in the pastures. So you're driving over all the turtle eggs and destroying your soil's ability to hold water. I don't know. It's just so hard to go up against what conventional knowledge, wisdom was, what they teach at the colleges. But they figured out what's going on in the soil and how to prevent it and how to focus on soil health. Basically, all you need to know is do not disturb. So the least amount of disturbance possible is the best. And time. But you have to disturb it when you plant. I do anyway. And you have to disturb it when you pick fruit. It's my friend that has the tree, my original food forest in Grant, Florida. She bought it. It's hers. She has fruiting good fruiting ice cream beans. It took her tree a few years before it started fruiting. She dry farms, she doesn't water stuff. It's a good fruit. I've had it. She said her fruit's gonna be ready in like 2 weeks. But she said all the squirrels got them last year. So they shot all the squirrels. I don't condone that. I kinda understand it a little bit, but not really. But yeah, see all the turtles? There's one, and then there's little wood ducks in there. I saw that they say that it's good to remove the stuff from off the water a little bit. I mean, I wish they would just shut up with their advice. I mean, who comes up with this? I see my little wood ducks. Sorry, little ducks. See if I can get a picture of them down there. Yeah, they're there. There's a lot of them. Sorry, they don't have to be filmed. I feel like I rattled them. I don't know, I worry about that. Anyway, yeah, they killed like 14 squirrels, but she lives on a nature preserve, so I think that's kind of futile. But I don't know. If everyone did that, there wouldn't be any squirrels, so I just don't condone it. I think you just got to plant more trees. People are proprietary over trees that they planted and think that all other life can be eradicated. So I'm at this cashew tree looking for cashew fruit. I still haven't trimmed that pepper tree. I need to do that. But it really stopped flowering and it stopped fruiting when we were under drought. Didn't seem to bother the tree at all. Oh, no, that's not a fruit. Seed. I'd like to see one more seed, but I don't see any. I think I scoured the ground really well. Yeah, this fruitless flowers. Fruitless flowers. We got quite a few fruit off of it, and then it stopped. But it still has lots of flowers on it, so it'll start up. We're going to start getting some rain again. It's an excellent crop for Florida. I think you have to give it some manure because, or a little bit of manure, because it's a magnesium super accumulator. There's high magnesium in cashews, and you can't put raw manure on like wood chips because you'll get I think it's phosphorus lock, or it'll nutrient lock of some sort. I think it's phosphorus, but I'm not sure exactly. If the manure touches the bare earth. So manure has a readily available source of magnesium for plant uptake, a certain amount of it in the raw manure. But if it comes in contact with the earth, without probably oxidizing a little bit, then it can cause a nutrient lock. For sure, if you put manure on wood chips, it would cause nutrient lock in some cases. Anyway, it's Frog Valley Tropical Fruit Farm. Hope you have a beautiful day.